Hello, people of the Wirral, Wirralans, Wirralolians, or whatever else people want to call us. We're back exploring the Wirral using a 1970s overhead photography to go and search some places to see what it used to be like. Many people will remember this, and of course some won't. But in the last two versions of this that we've done, we've asked the question of what people want to look at. So we've got those answers through. So thanks for that. If you want to get any more yourselves, just comment in this video and we'll do it in a future one. So let's see the first one. So the first one here is, we won't say the full names, we'll just say Paul. So he says he loves all the videos. Can we do something on the dock bridges and what's changed and all the shipping from the 1970s and Oak and Eldon Gardens up by Price Street and where Conway Park Station is. So let's go and have a quick look at that. Let's go into the docks. Now we looked at some of the docks in the last episode, so you can go back and look at that. But let's have a look at it a bit more, because we were talking about the four bridges and why they're called the four bridges. There they are there, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bridges. But you can see the amount. See this dock here and Edgerton dock are still there, but they're actually cut off now. Let's look at modern day maps. See, they're cut off. They're connected together, but they're cut off. Actually fed through this lock here, which doesn't exist anymore. But that's where the lock was for that. So that's kind of cut off now. You can also see the amount of ships and all the different mills and all that. Even though this is maybe the start of the decline of shipping in the Mersey, and even when it happened in Liverpool and the dockers' problems and things like that, it's maybe the start. There's still a lot of ships in there compared to now. Look at these three here. And of course, in the last video, we saw that this dock here is all filled in. Look at that, how annoying, Port of Liverpool. It says there, Port of Liverpool. I don't know about you, but that is not Liverpool. Anyway, must be an error on the map. And of course, if we go down to the docks at Tranmere and by Woodside and Camelaires, there's so many of them, and you can see they're all in use here. So many of them. Let's compare it to now. 1, 2, 3, 4 docks and a basin. Is that probably about right now? 4 docks and a basin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. An awful lot more, isn't there? So you can see how it's changed so much over. The other thing he asked is to have a look where Eldon and Oak Gardens were. And here they are here. You can see them. Oops. You can see them on this overhead map. The two big tower blocks. I'll get some pictures of them and stick them up now. And you can see they were knocked down. Was it late 70s? Anyone want to tell me? But you can also see this is where Conway Park Station is, right here. And is that Europa Boulevard? Is that called? Yes, it is. Yeah. And the car park. See what was there before? Well. Literally right in the middle of some terraced housing, and you can see how much has changed around here as well. Europa Pools and the cinema here. There's Europa Pools and the cinema. Let's see how they've changed. Well enough, most of the cinema is just open ground then, but you see houses, terraced houses. So massive changes. Over the years. Most of this went up in the 90s, wasn't it? Europa Boulevard. So you can. It does surprise sometimes how much it's actually changed. Next one we'll have a look at is Dave, and he wants to see the Woody Ford and Nokia estates and how it's changed around there. Right, so let's go and have a look. Okay, so first of all, we'll hit the Noctorum here. Obviously quite new at the time. You can see the main areas are the same. There's a few things that have changed in the middle, but in Noctorum here, one of the big things is the Ridgeway High School isn't even built. There we go, just one big field. Those fields are still there, but there's a school on it. The new school is built a lot more set back than the original one. The original one was more closer to the road, but in this picture here, there's no school at all. Likewise, over here in Woodchurch, you can see the old Woodchurch school, but of course the new Woodchurch school is here. Nothing there. There's the old Woodchurch school right there. So let's move on up to the Ford. There we go. So we've got let's see much has changed around here. So that's relatively new. The Wirral Way there, not the actual Wirral Way, another Wirral Way, and Windermere Road. That's all at the time. That roundabout was relatively new, and then we go over into the Ford estate here. Again, there are some subtle changes that's gone on here, but mainly in the most, it's pretty much the same. But this is it, all brand new, and of course, just to the left here, the motorway is still being constructed, so obviously that didn't exist at the time. The Mid-Wirral Railway is there, and let's have a look here. Yes, now this area here has changed quite significantly, hasn't it? Or is it just still being built here? And that's, yeah, so it looks like it's still being built. Certainly this bit here. Now this is the area here that none of it is there, but you can only get to it. Oops, you can only get to it from. Yeah, that's what it's called, Eleanor Road. So this is more of a Bidston Hill here, but all that is really new estate, which none of that exists here. It's a relatively new estate. There we go, you can see it there. But most of the Ford is still being constructed and is not completed at that time. So there's an interesting one for you. If anyone remembers growing up on those estates there, you can see it's still getting constructed right in its early days. So the next one we've got here is from a Gary, and he was told by his uncle back in the 70s that when Wembley was being planned, the Wembley Stadium in London, the Wirral was one place that they considered it, but they scrapped the Wirral site because it meant building on an ancient battle site. Later in life, he tried to find evidence of this, but doesn't know if it's true or not. Well, I tried to look myself, and I can't find anything. So if anyone does know any kind of information, or even a rumour on it, then let us know below. Okay, so next one's from David. He said it was a brilliant comparison video. Must have been one of the previous ones that we did. He was 5 in 1970, and he's from Liverpool, although he has relations in Birkenhead at the time who moved to Prenton, and relations in Wallasey, not far from the ferry terminal. So could we focus on that area next? Well, let's go into the Wallasey ferry. A great shot there, actually. Look at it from, there's 2 ferry boats in there. Let's see what's changed around here. Well, we touched this on a previous video, but look at the ventilation shaft here, I've noticed, is just being constructed because the entire Wallasey tunnel is just being constructed. So that is there. Big difference. Sorry, not a big difference, although it is a new landing stage here at the Seacombe Ferry Terminal. There is the old landing stage is there, but it still had 2 entrances to it, although I think predominantly the left one was used. You can also see here the old bus terminal in the middle, where a lot of the buses went into. that has obviously changed around now. They don't go, yeah, it's a much more rounded, more of a roundabout bus terminus there. And then on the back end of it here, I don't know what's going on here. It looks like an old factory. And industrial estates have been built on this piece of land here. And I don't know if there was a pub on the corner there, wasn't there? And I think the pub is gone now. It's gone now, but I think in this picture it wasn't even there then. Might be wrong on that one. But that's a good overhead shot there of Wallasey and the ferry terminal here. So the next one here is from, it's a username, it's no net. I'll put the username on screen. And he said he heard that there was a stadium in Rock Ferry just on Bedford Road. Is this right? Can't seem to find anything. He also said that he used to live in Corinthian Street in Rock Ferry, and somehow I forgot he was told that the stadium was there once before the hospital that is now Rock Ferry Primary School. So I didn't know anything about a stadium down here, but let's go in and have a look. Let's go and see what we can find. So let's use a modern map here, and we'll go down, right down into Rock Ferry to Bedford Road. Oops. Right, here is Bedford Road. And there is a school somewhere. Yeah, there's the primary school here. Let's see what it was like in the 1970s. Pretty much as it is now. Is that the same school there? Yeah, there's a tower block here I didn't know about. There's a tower block. But no sign of a stadium. Also, they're looking at Rock Ferry Station. You can see how big it was. It's much more in use at the time, of course. But there's no sign of a stadium or anything like that. So hang on, let me just change the settings. Hang on. Okay, settings changed. Okay, settings changed. Now I've found an 1898 map. Not a overhead picture, but a map. And look what we find here. So labelled here as South Tranmere. There is what you would describe as a pitch field, which may be a running track around it. There's Rock Ferry Station. And a church at the top end of it. No information. I have nothing on what the stadium was called. Maybe it was just called Rock Ferry Stadium or Tranmere Stadium or something like that. If anyone knows anything, let us know. But that's the best evidence that I've got of any kind of stadium being off Bedford Road. Of course, takes in exactly this houses here now and where the primary school is, but nothing on it whatsoever. If we skip forward to 1910, you can see the stadium is gone, and these streets, Howson Street, Gothic Street, have been built up. So that's 20 years after this is gone. And if we go to 1875, then there's hardly anything anywhere. It's very difficult to read the map, but there's certainly no stadium there then. So it looks like this stadium only existed for a very short period of time. So any information on that, then somebody let us know. So the last one here is from Joyce. It's just a bit of feedback on one of the previous videos. Where the Pyramid Shopping Centre is now, in the 1970 picture, there was what looked like a church right where the Pyramid Shopping Centre is now. I asked what it was, and the feedback came through, and she said he thinks it was called St John's Church. It's up at the street where the Garrick pub is, and just by where the Santander Bank is now. So let's go in and have a look at that. We'll show you the offending building in this case. There it is there. It looks like a church, shape of the church. And if we zoom in here, it's right in the middle of the pyramids. So there's the Garrick pub here. It's just on this corner here. It's this building here with 24 on it. And then the pyramids is here. And if we have a look, yeah, it's literally straight opposite. If you walked up that road there and went in a straight line through the pyramid centre, then you'd walk straight through the middle of a church. So that's some feedback on that. So thanks for all your information. Anything else you'd like to look at, then let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.